Hello, welcome to Chapter 20 Partner Program joining that we have bi-weekly for all our mighties who are in the Chapter 20 Partner Program, joining together to release desires to miracles together with Jesus. And this is a program that is ongoing. Everyone is welcome to it. It's open no matter what your experience is with the Course in Miracles or any of the material. Actually, we have a lot of resources for this to support you. So we're just welcoming everyone that is maybe new to the program or considering the program. And also the mighties, the main focus is to share your direct experience with the program. What miracles are you looking at with Jesus? Like where, if there's any upsets coming up with looking, and just really I'm just seeing all the commitment that everyone has made to this program that's so inspiring and so uplifting, and it's all being provided, and it's a way for me to develop and deepen my relationship with the voice for God, with Jesus. That's how for me, it's been very helpful to see that really what's available to me is to have a direct conversation with Jesus and let him help me and let him guide me and learn how to be a happy learner in following him. And so I am just so grateful that you all are here, and would love to hear how it's going with the program, what Jesus would like you to share. So we'll just pause and go inward and ask Jesus what he would like us to share in this joining.
I'll share, Renee. So, Jesus, for me, says that I cannot make it to heaven without my brothers. And I just keep being reminded that he tells us in the course, he reminds us by speaking of joining over 400 times. So there's not much that's more valuable than joining with him and with our mighties to hear him. And the light circles that we attend morning and night are for joining in the moment when we need to look at a twitch with a mighty is invaluable. And then this program, chapter 20, where coming from the book Jesus, A New Covenant, and in the back, chapter 20 is where Jesus had Kay list out 80 or maybe a few more different beliefs directly from A Course in Miracles, and then the desires related to those beliefs. So, I've had a few chapter 20 partners, and I've learned to trust that whoever I'm connected with is perfect because Jesus knows much better than I do. And now I'm joined with Michael, who's with us here today. Thank you for being here, Michael. And the desires in chapter 20 are so deep in the mind that I had no clue I had them. And the more that I join, and in chapter 20, Michael and I are we're so in sync now. You know, Kay talks about how it doesn't take long to get a miracle. And in my mind, I've always wanted it to take long, and maybe not even get them, in which some cases I didn't. But with Michael and I, it's like, first of all, we hear Jesus' response more times than not. We hear the exact words, the same that Jesus is giving us, which is, Kay says that will happen, and it's makes us chuckle. But more than that is that the miracles are coming more easily now. And with this, it's I guess I'm seeing it's not just about chapter 20, but now with the conviction that I'm receiving from it, it's giving me the strength and the willingness to want to follow more and more every day. And not that I'm perfect at it, but the willingness is always there. And chapter 20 is it's pretty invaluable, I think. A, because joining is important, and B, because the desires that are in here we don't see anywhere else. And healing the mind is it's what I need to do to know my truth. And I'm grateful for all my mighties, and I'm really grateful for Michael right now, just because when we join, it's just all about, all right, let's get to work with Jesus and let's do this. And we clear the desire, get the miracle, and we say thank you. So it's beautiful. Yeah, that's enough of that one. So I love chapter 20. It's powerful. It's powerful and it's healing, and I think it's really important as part of this whole curriculum. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I see that he just keeps showing me the determination and the courage and, just the willingness to show up and then let him give it to him. It's like I'm learning that every time to come empty-handed and give it over to him. And that used to feel so uncomfortable and so unnatural. And that's starting to lighten up quite a bit, where I'm seeing that the miracles and accepting the voice for God speaking through my brother and through myself is um, what's natural. And it's a complete, I had it completely upside down. And that's what he shows me with every desire, is that I have heaven and hell flipped. I feel like there's some kind of value I'm getting out of the desire. So he keeps revealing that through each desire that we look at together. And one of the things he showed me, like that's he's as keeps coming back, is that I felt like I didn't have access. Like I felt like I was denied access. And so he's helping me see where I'm denying myself, and I'm uh, um, so like where I felt like something was my happiness, he's showing me that it's more of like a pleasure, a guilty pleasure thing. And I've been very confused about about that. But just through joining and admitting the desire, it's so quick. It's like this is like saving so much time. That's another thing that's the like part of this, is that um he's very precise and very direct, and he's showing me that it's like the quick way out, so that I don't have to keep having the the experience in different ways. I can, it's not there anymore. Once I fully accept a miracle, then I'm releasing it, and it's on to the next one, which is also welcoming, like so that I'm looking at desires, and the partnership is to have someone there that's we're sharing that purpose. That's our only, God is our one goal. That's our purpose for joining, is to accept those miracles quickly and see that we are hearing together. Like you said, it's I guess like it's about saying yes, and then I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I keep standing into it and saying yes. And then there's always the gift that my brother's bringing, that's so evident. It's so like when we started joining, I felt speechless just from joining this morning with everyone. It, it really is like to a point where I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. But um, other than thank you, uh, yeah. And he's always reminding me, just keep looking, because that access it's available. And yeah, he wants, like today we're looking at, you know, uh, if I'm denying that he has my best interests. And he was reminding me, I have your best interests at heart. So it is a deepening of trust, just continuing to deepen that conversation with him, and see that he is speaking through my brother.
Thanks, Renee. Speak now. I think the three main points that I've gathered from doing chapter 20 with David in this round is that I do trust Jesus, and it's more like a double-edged trust, because it isn't just that I trust Jesus to guide me and show me, and he has my best interest, but I also trust that no matter what I do, I can't change that. And then no matter how I color the mind, or no matter how I sully the process, I still all I got to do is show up with my chapter 20 partner and be willing to look at the desire. And as long as I'm willing to admit that whatever desire Jesus says I have, and I'm willing to look at it, that as long as I'm willing to do that, that there's progress, and there's power in the looking with Jesus. And I really do trust more and more that Jesus has my back. And I don't even doubt anymore whenever I hear some of these crazy desires being listed off. And when Jesus says I have it, I just accept it. And that's where my trust begins, is that I just accept that whatever Jesus says I have as a desire, that I have it, and that I have to look at it. And Jesus is always there without fail, and we always get through the desire. And it's so above my pay grade. Like, I don't do very much other than show up and acknowledge what's already true. And and I think that's beautiful, that no matter that the only effort that I need bring to this is my willingness to join and look at whatever is shown to me, and that's it. And I can tell you that without a doubt that that's true from my personal experience, because I've tried to sully this process. I've tried to change it. I've tried to manipulate it. I've tried to make it not possible through my own actions, and it doesn't work. And I think that's beautiful, that 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 even though I can't seem to get out of my own way, Jesus is still willing to help me with my mighty companions. And that is my experience. Thank you.
Awesome. It was really awesome. Oh my gosh. I got some stuff to share. First of all, Renee, I just want to thank you. And you're being led big time. It's incredibly obvious how Jesus is working. Because nothing worked at all. I had no idea what I was doing. He was worse off than me. We didn't know, and I couldn't find any of the questions. And so we sat for doing nothing, just sat there. There's a language issue and everything else. And we just sat there for a bit. And then Jesus told me to go over there and grab the dang sheets for joining. And so I said, well, let's just try this, And it's so awkward. There's no possibility of anything happening. And so we just read it, and it was just, he told me, because it said that you just go ahead and you identify with the light. And I didn't see, I mean, I only have my own experience there. And I said, well, let me let me describe it, and because I was identified with the ego and everything, light, and then what came was that the light, the past lessons, that the light isn't seen through the eyes of the human, the eyeballs, but its characteristics are unavoidable. The omnipresence of light, and so we had to identify with that a little bit, and that's what we have to do first. It's almost like the first line, and so we did that, and then from there, now there was just us watching with Jesus, and then the question, and then all kinds of thoughts came up in my scene. He was revealing things. I said, well, this is my experience, is that this is how Jesus is talking to me. He's popping these things out, these thoughts, like clouds. And I'm supposed to ask for a miracle. I'm asking a question about stuff I don't even know is hidden somewhere in the subconscious, and he's popping them up like clouds. And it's the same experience that my new friend was going through. And I say, well, we're watching that. Instead of it being something, we're just watching that, and that's a miracle. We ask for the miracle, it zooms out. It was like a submachine gun with miracles. As we're both sitting in the peace and the grace and the presence and the energy of the joining of two people come together, in the nature of Jesus Christ, who we were sitting next to, both respectively in our own minds. We're sitting with Jesus, watching thoughts arise, prompted by the questions that were being asked. And so we remained in the light, which appeared to be dark because we're both identified with our eyeballs. But the energetics of peace, a silence, an emptiness, a void, a darkness, this is all what the eye would see. But in that, there's an actual peace. And in that, we're asking a question of Jesus, and he's communicating to both of us and pulling out of a subconscious our own respective clouds that pertain directly to the question. That is the communication. That's Jesus actually. And so then we're talking about, through the questions, how these thoughts are literally being brought up by Jesus of our own last hour or two of tension and agitation, because there was a profound attack by the ego of both parties before the meeting. So we didn't have to go searching too far. The question was immediate, having to do with he was more tense than I was. And so we just had all of these things popping up. It's like a machine gun of thoughts that were just passing through. Each one of them, an absolute miracle. We're asking Jesus that these are what Jesus is showing us, is popping through. We're asking a miracle. They are miracles, each one of them. We're watching that Jesus is bringing this stuff up in relation to each question. And it can be that easy because it was that easy. The communication was just incredible, impeccable. They hadn't had anything to do with chapter 20 yet. This is just to prime us to trust this situation and to be amazed, at how this was. And so, yeah, what has come from that is simply that the synchronicities that brought this whole thing together, the difficulty of the and how that works in the world, which is really kind of a whole different thing too. I mean, all I could do was just have kind of like agitations and everything else because there was so much debris in the way of just getting us together, And then I'm just going, like, this is the absolute worst person possible for me. I'm thinking, and I wanted to give up on this thing 4 or 5 times. And I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning just to find the questions on a 4 o'clock in the morning meeting because we're on different parts of the world. And I just said, I ain't working this minute. So, but the thing is it was the same on his side, just attacks. And he was amazed that he couldn't, there's phone calls in the middle and all this stuff before we could even get started. And there was a half-hour delay and all this. And I needed that half hour and I still couldn't put it together. And so, I mean, I couldn't believe that the ego is literally, manifesting stuff to prevent this stuff from happening in the world, which is kind of weird, but I mean, that is the Course in Miracles. Our minds are actually projecting activity going on outside of us in appearance of the body, in the appearance of the world, and I see that because of this. Otherwise, I would never see. I would have been a longer period, So this huge burst just on the outset, just was really, really infused me. I know it was good for him too, but I took a teacher role on this, and I'm seeing the metaphysics that's mentioned that's throughout the course. I see the metaphysics in the teacher's manual about how valuable learning. I mean, the teacher learning thing is completely backwards, and I see that, and oh my God. So yes, this is huge, unlikely, completely opposite that I would think, and very valuable. And the same with Renee. I just want you to know how absolutely divinely inspired you are, and in your sincerity, in your faith, even in the midst of all of the things that you appear to be manifesting and your doubts and things like that. I just want you to know how awesome it worked out and how Jesus is running this thing, unquestionably.
Yeah, just what I saw reflected with you all and joining was, you were honest. You all were in the honesty of God about it, and just willing to say yes and go for it. And that's what I find with this, is just saying yes. And in that, I don't have to know anything about it. And it is it's welcoming of the truth. It's a welcoming of the truth and a falling away of the false. And the simplicity of that it does go beyond words. but it is amazing. And it is, I mean, it's everything that he talks about in the Course, in Jesus, the New Covenant. And it's always, it's like streaming through my brothers. So it's like, it's seeing that the Holy Communion is, it's, what he's showing me is just as I continue to join consistently, the availability becomes more something that I'm not willing to say no to, that it's like, I want to commit myself fully to this and make no exceptions in hearing, speaking, and following the voice. 24/7, which, like, I need my brother. I need Jesus for that. Without that, I see how the purification, that, like, through looking at the desires together, and the gentleness of this is just, I needed help, but I didn't know how to ask for help. And I didn't see where I was already making decisions on my own and then asking for help. So I was attacking myself. And he's just shown me it's all self-attack, all of it. Like, the whole thing is self-attack. And but it's the attack comes in ways that I don't recognize sometimes. And I need my brother, to show me that. Sometimes I really just don't want to hear, or I don't want to see. I'd rather do anything but join. But he keeps bringing me back to the power of joining, the simplicity of joining, and encouraging me every day to get the miracle and take it all the way, so that I can get that confirmation directly from him that the healing is there, that I've accepted the miracle fully. And if not, then just keep looking. And with this program, it's all about trust and consistency. He's encouraging everyone to join at least 3 times a week. And most of us are finding that joining every day is it's like, it's either going to be chapter 20 or a light circle or the miracle worksheet, whatever, whatever's most helpful. So I just, what he was showing me this morning is it's about asking him, just asking him in each instance that I'm not at peace, recognizing I'm not at peace, and asking him what's most helpful for the healing of the mind right now. And then a lot of, I have looked at pride. So I continue to look at, like, wanting to make it difficult, or sometimes it's even like it feels like impossible. But if I say yes, if I say yes, then he shows me what I'm saying yes to. And yeah, so it's just like saying no to what doesn't serve and seeing that this is in service to the whole, to this is my function, this is what my heart's all been calling for. So it is everything, really. And I am willing to do whatever it takes to see what's true. And that's a there's a lot of laughter and joy and happiness that comes from uh from him, from having a dialogue with him.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Yeah, my shares are very similar. I can see the similarity in all the shares today. My partner and I are still joining 3 times a week. And this past week, we had a desire that came up that wasn't in sync with our desire. So we joined for an extra day, and it was very similar. We get very similar messages. It's very soft and gentle with the two of us, how we work together, but we are getting the same messages. And a lot what Renee said is just a lot of my fears and my resistances are melting away through all areas of my joining. They're just starting to dissolve, and I'm seeing how I had everything upside down by keeping separate in my safety, protection, and such forth. So yeah, I feel it's all just flowing beautifully with all the joining, and the more I join, the better it seems to flow for my day. So thank you.
Yeah, so much has been said here that's Jesus is like, yes, yes, yes. One of the things he was just showing me as my experience with joining in the Chapter 20 program and all the joining is that something profound happens with the willingness, my willingness to step into a situation that I might not normally step into, which is the willingness to let go of my boundaries and the limitations I put on myself and what I think communication is. Because what happens with the Chapter 20 program has been my experience is all that separation starts to fall away. And that somehow provides us profound space for something else to show up that I don't ordinarily experience throughout the day, or there's transference of learning going on, and yet it seems to be so deepened by these joinings. And it just provides a grace to trust that this is possible, and it can show up anytime, anywhere, with anyone. I had a holy experience at a gas station recently where this gentleman was just out of sorts. And I just joined with him. I was just guided to join with him. And it turned out that anyway, the whole story. And so these joinings for me have provided that opening to let go of all the barriers that I put up. And then to see my brother as my savior.
Thank you, Mary.
That just blows me away. Just one other thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I so appreciate the tenderness, that the gentleness and the willingness. Yeah, and he just shows me how joined I am with my brothers. And like you were saying, Michael, how, like, despite my best efforts, it doesn't matter how many times I deny it, but I keep, coming back, and then I'm reminded of the miracle. And yeah, it is profound, and it's in alignment with God's will for me, for happiness, to see that to see that speaking the voice is not just to see that there's no limitation is what I'm kind of looking at with him today. With the reminder that he knows my best interests and that's like you were saying, David, that's a promise, the promise. And yeah, I just encourage those who are considering chapter 20 to we have like a little sign up form. You can kind of read more about it, and I can answer questions, and yeah, he also is reminding that it's helpful to participate in the light circles, and to yeah, just keep joining. When you're getting started out, sometimes like you're saying, Charlie, you're seeing, it seems like all this, stuff is, there's like disruption or whatever, but um, but uh, there is the grace that uh, the grace of God and the honesty of God, and how I can't, that the ego can't get around that, because I see where I've tried almost everything I can do to to say no to the light, and every time I ask, is the light here? He says yes. and and then, it's just that encouragement and that gentleness to keep looking, and stay joined, and to see that all is joined, and all is well. And we do have an announcement. Oh,
Renee, is there anyone else who wants to share?
thank
Sure.
you. Good question. Would anyone else like to share? Okay, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, mighties. And for the announcement, I was thinking of Sunday. um, it's tomorrow, but tomorrow evening, the guidance joining is would you like to share anything about that, David?
Yeah, tomorrow evening is a Sunday evening guidance session, and it's equally as important and valuable as chapter 20, where we all share our experiences of asking and listening and following. And the shares are always so beautiful, so uplifting. So it's great to see everybody there, 7 p.m. Central Sunday night.
Woohoo. All right, thank you all. Thank you for the
Thank you, Renee.
miracles. Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Mighties.
you for your commitment to this.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
it's the
everyone. Thank
rocket
you,
to
Jesus.
God. I don't know who, where it came from. Jesus. I know that this is the rocket to God. Thank you.
See you later, fellow sparklers.